Hey guys, and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm back again for a new Things You Didn't Know episode in this new DLC. Today, as usual, we have a nice mix of lore, practical or just weird tips, anything that sparks my interest really. Again though, a bunch of these come from comments, almost all of them this time, so a big thank you to everyone who just gets involved. But now, let's just get into the episode. We kick today's episode off with quite an interesting one, something I'm excited to talk about, and obviously I'm standing here for a very specific reason with the head of Rykard behind me. It wasn't until the DLC that this was something that I was able to even process or be aware of. So what I'm holding here is the new shield, the dueling shield. We have a couple of thrusting shield types in the DLC, of course, starting with the dueling shield, but then also we have the carrion thrusting shield version, wielded by Radahn during her entry into ritual combat. A demonstration of fidelity to the Erdtree. Now there's a lot of fan theories about what does that really mean. There's this whole theory that Radahn and Messmer were or are a thing. So this is really important lore on this item. Then you have the dueling shield, an armament once used in ritual combat performed to honor the Erdtree, a custom that had somehow remained within the realm of Shadow. So, at some point, as part of the Golden Order, dueling shields or thrusting shields were used in some kind of ritual combat, whether it was real combat or just performative. So this one's tied to Radahn and Messmer, but where does this kind of generic standard one come from? I think it's easy to look at it and think it's just nothing, but there's actually a chance, I think, this could be Rykard's shield when he was still a humanoid, and maybe when he was performing one of these duels in honor of the Erdtree. Let's talk about why this could be possible, although I'm not, guaranteeing it. Take a good look at the symbol on the dueling shield itself. This golden spiral pattern. I'm not saying these are like, oh, those are snakes and they represent Rykard or something silly like that. It's just a symbol to represent the Golden Order or the Erdtree in general. But perhaps it represents more than that. Maybe it represents the gods themselves. Because the Taker's cameo, the talisman of Rykard very clearly tied to him, actually tells a story. And again, it's not until now in this DLC and that item was added that I even see it. What we have in the middle here is Rykard. On the left, we have a humanoid skeleton type. And on the right, we have the same symbol we now see on the dueling shield, representing the Golden Order and potentially the gods. Why? Because as we zoom out and look at the snakes that are literally consuming that symbol, they're consuming the Golden Order. They're consuming the gods. I am completely unaware of this symbol being used anywhere else. If you guys know of this duelist shield Erdtree symbol on any other items or locations, please let me know. I'd love to see it. And it's so cool to see an original item like this telling a story that I just never really acknowledged or comprehended until now. All because of this symbol. It's just on the dueling shield. Again, this might have been Rykard's shield to represent that in the way that there was Radahnn's shield, or maybe it's just a shield used in that representing the Golden Order. But obviously, there is a connection there, and I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. For our next thing then, we're going to follow up on a very interesting discussion we had with this weapon. This is Ansbach's main weapon, the Obsidian Lamina, and we had this really cool highlight of how it changes its Ash of War, seemingly because of a bug, and there's lots of different theories around it. It was obviously a very big topic in that episode. A load of people had theories, discussions, and even suggestions, and amazingly, another break for this Ash of War has been found because of it. So what I'm talking about, just to show you, is this Ash of War, which allows you to dash around before attacking. Think of Bloody Hellish from the original game. You follow that with a heavy attack and then do a follow-up hit. It's actually a long combo with this weapon in particular. I believe that's a 3-parter, ending in that jump backwards attack. If we were to look at the footage from last time, you can see that if I use different Ashes of War, it alters the laminas for some reason, cutting apart that 3-part combo and changing it. The two changes we saw were by using something like the Black Steel Twin Blade spin with the Crucible Wings Ash of War. This would for some reason change it into a very spinning combo, whereas say with Flame Spear with a Fire Greatsword, this would turn it into a more vertical swing and then a horizontal spin after that. So for some reason, using different Ashes of War is altering the Obsidian Lamina's combo into something entirely new. It was Von Brent in the comments that mentioned this one, and that's why I've got the dueling shield. Part of what made me look at it in the first place for the first thing in the video. In any case, the dueling shield, apparently according to a bunch of comments, you can use different thrusting based Ashes of War to change the lamina. So I've got Flame Skewer on, but apparently it also works with Blood Tax, so let's use that. This thrusting stab, and then we go to Lamina and then try to use the combo. Wow, it completely changed it entirely. In fact, it's got almost a magical property to it. Do you see that? On the right side, on the end of the sight, there's a little blue glow. As Von Brent suggests, this is the lunge part of the Glintstone Kris. This is what I mean. So you have the Glintstone Kris and its Glintstone Dart. This shoots out a little dart, right? Very cool, very effective actually. But if you follow that with a heavy attack, it's a thrust where the dagger glows in that blue effect. And that is what's happening with the Lamina on the very tip of the scythe. It is literally that same thrust, just less obviously so because the magic effect on the side tip is a lot more minimal than the whole dagger. This is such a weird bug. It's hard to say the real use of this. I guess if you want to surprise someone in PvP, swapping between the weapons, changing the Asherwater Lamina so they don't know what's coming, I guess that's possible. Obviously it's very niche, but very neat to be aware of. Very cool that there's yet another way to completely change this one weapon and its Ash of War. Moving forward, we actually have another concept to do with this, and it's very exciting. I hope this works. I'm reacting to it live as I do this. This comes from Tristan Welk in the comments, and apparently one of the original weapons has a kind of comparable bug to what we've been showing with the Lamina. It's another way we can break a different weapon and ultimately result in a different, maybe unintended moveset. These are the Ornamental straight swords, which come from, the first boss that you'll face in the entire game, which you can kill when you first encounter it, or you can come back later like I'm doing here and just very easily kill it much later on. These are a unique weapon. They allow you to have 2 for 1. So even though I've only got 1 weapon slot equipped, we're getting 2 of these swords, and I get the moveset, and I'm using light attack with R1 to use both of them, and they come with an Ash of War that powers them up. You buff it up, and then that changes the moveset of the heavy attack, allowing for this super long thrusting combo. Pretty cool stuff. Let's reset them then and show what Tristan wants me to do. He wants me to two-hand them, so we're holding both in both hands. He wants me to charge the weapon so that I'm able to do that unique heavy attack combo. And then while I'm doing that heavy attack combo, he wants me to throw any thrown dart. So I've got some bone darts equipped to test this. Once I've done that, I'm going to use the heavy attack again. So we buff up, we use the new heavy attack, we throw a dart to interrupt, and then we do the heavy attack and do a new combo. So what's really happening here is I'm doing the heavy attack combo and I'm spamming the bone dart, I throw it, and then I do a heavy attack after the bone dart. That's crazy. It's created a new combination entirely for this weapon specifically. So the combo goes off as normal, we throw that, and then what it looks to me like is one of those Warcry follow-ups. Here's what I mean. So you have the normal combo of an axe like this, just light attacks, heavy attacks, whatever, and then it changes the weapon. So we do a Warcry, and now my heavy attack has changed, and I'm doing this new heavy attack. Now obviously this isn't exactly the same as we were just showing with our straight swords, but it's kind of familiar, and there's different kinds of these Warcries, and it does seem like it's taking one of those and applying it to those straight swords. As Tristan says, it's causing us to do this uppercut with a downward slam. Maybe not the most practical thing, but something you could trick someone with in a duel. If you're using those specific straight swords, they're not going to expect you to be able to extend the combo at very least, or even know what's coming towards them, it would seem. It's making me wonder, is there anything else like this for other weapons that hopefully could be practical, something we could apply in our own gameplay? Let me know if you know anything. Alright, moving on. This one's kind of crazy. I'm not sure how functional it's going to be, but it is real and it does work, to my surprise. It came from the comments as well, though, from someone called Erdtree with this incredible concept. In the final fight with Radahn, there's a point where he'll jump up into the air and slam back down on you, just like the original Radahn fight. Obviously, this one's a bit more deadly, though. Doom lets us know you can interrupt or break that comet attack by simply jumping in a kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm. For some reason, he's going to come back down without an explosion. This seemed absolutely insane to me and also sounded really hard to do at the exact correct moment. So rather than spending, I don't know, hours trying to do it myself, maybe successfully doing it, maybe not, I figured, okay, if this is real, then who's going to actually know how to do this and will be doing it? It's going to be challenge runners, speed runners, people actively trying to beat the bosses as easily and consistently as possible. So I pulled up a great speedrunner by the name of Run and had a look at some of the recent runs they've been doing. Skipping to the consort Radahn part and going to the part where he's going to jump up into the air, Run is literally doing what Erdtree was talking about. Moments after consort Radahn jumps up into the air to go do this explosion back down, he begins jumping in a 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm. What's interesting about this is it's not always the same. Sometimes he would jump just 3 times, sometimes he'd have to jump even more, 4 or 5. But the result was always the same. Consort Radahn sort of teleports straight back right in front and above you, landing without doing an attack. And so what you're seeing this speedrunner in run do is abuse that. During the prep to leap up into the air, he's able to get these charged heavies off, building up a stagger and some free damage as a punish. Then by doing this jump trick, well then Radahn comes straight back and again another charged heavy is available, leading to potential staggers and great burst for what was normally something you have to really run from. Again, I'm not going to pretend that this is something you can consistently and easily do though. Even just watching different attempts by Einrun, who clearly knows what he's doing, he sometimes fails, jumping at the wrong time, too soon, too quickly, or something like that. Now from watching all the different attempts, I would see that the consistent options were generally looking at the light that emits after Radahn leaps up into the air, and just after it fades, begin doing the 1, 2, 3 jump pattern. Seemingly, if you do it consistently with the right timing, it'll happen immediately. So if you guys know any more details about how this truly works, I'd love to hear about it, because this is kind of insane, and if it's something we could easily suggest genuinely to people, it could make one of the hardest things in the game easier. So thank you for making me aware of that, Doomtree. Now, while I've got these specific straight swords in hand, this next thing is actually tied to weapons of this nature. Weapons that give you 2 in 1 for the 1 slot. This comes from the commenter of the recent episode, Pierce Arna, talking about these power stance duo weapons, of which there's quite a lot, especially in the DLC. To give you some examples outside of this original one, there's the new backhand blade type of the backhand blades. As you can see, for 1 slot we get 2, but as I equip them, we actually have 2 that we can then two-hand, one-handing them and holding them in both hands. Another cool detail about this is the fact that the weight, say 2 weight here, is all that it is. Whereas normally you'd have to equip another weapon that gets that weight on the other hand. In any case, when you're using this power stance weapon that comes with 2 in 1, it does mean that your second hand or the offhand equipped slot is unarmed. And as Pierce suggests, a great slot for this would be a torch. Specifically, the Beast Repellent Torch, which from my original Things series is something I talked about. The aroma pacifies wild beasts. When you two-hand a 1-slot duo weapon like this though, it'll go on my back. And as you can see, the flame will no longer be lit. That doesn't mean that the passive aura of the Beast Repellent Torch isn't working. It actually is. And this applies to all passive weapons, all passive items that will go onto a second slot and still give you this effect. I've used this a lot in my own gameplay during the DLC when I was first exploring sections. There are many beasts in the DLC that this will be relevant to, and essentially what it does, if you're unaware, is causes these beasts to go passive. As you can see with wolves and dog types, it'll cause them to kind of circle around me, as if they're waiting for the opportune moment to dive in on me, but they never will. It's fully passive. This works with a bunch of different kinds of beasts though. Rams, boars, rats, dogs and wolves, as well as bears, as Pierce suggests. But it even works against basilisks, meaning they'll never actually attack and dive bomb you, spreading that instant deathblight kill on you. The convenience of this can't be understated when exploring new areas, or if you're in a cave or a section where there are beasts. It doesn't make them fully passive though. For example, if I'm to attack one, I will be attacked back, but what it does obviously do is give me the opportune moment to go in for my free punish, letting me get up and close to the target as much as I want, ready to actually attack them and maybe kill them before they can even react. But it occurred to me personally that this will be the case for any passive weapon. For example, one of the best weapons in the game, the Blasphemous Blade, part of its passive is that it heals 10% of the health as you use the Ash of War, but it also restores a little bit of health as part of the passive whenever you land a killing blow. So again, let's put this on my back and enjoy that passive benefit. As you can see, I've not actually got the weapon fully equipped. I'm not attacking with it, and yet as I attack, I get that heal, and now I'm back to full health. And again, let's kill this one back to full health. The passive is triggering even though I'm not using the weapon. The only downside to this is that you've got to take the weight of the second unequipped item. I'm sure there's other passive perks that we could consider outside of the Blasphemous Blade. There's new weapons like the Freya's Greatsword, which will increase certain damage types. Even if this is equipped on your back, it's still going to give us a 10% increase to, say, Lion's Claw Ash of War if I was using that on my main weapon. So yeah, again, there'll be more examples of this. It's honestly a really clever trick. So thank you, Pierce, and I'm glad I could add to that. But there you have it, another set of things to consider that you might not have known about. If you guys have anything to add to today's topics or something entirely new that would just fit into a video, let us know in those comments. It's been great covering the DLC for things so far, in large part because of the big back and forth I've been having here on these topics. For now though, until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thank you for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice. to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.